Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Duval Dive. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game.
And I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
You listen to this thing on the Believe Podcast Network, and this is somebody who we enjoy talking to on a regular basis. News4Jax.
Jamal Saint
Cyr. You know, this is funny. I finally get to the point, Jamal, where I can spell your last name right. I don't care if I have it right, and then I blow that. What are we doing?
That's fine.
Anyways, great to have you aboard, man. It's going to be a great time. And listen, for those of you out there who don't want to be lied to by politicians and are skipping the State of the Union, it's lying season, so some sports GM out there is inevitably lying to you instead. That's why we're talking here on the show today. And Jamal, I know it's a way too early thing, but the reason why I wanted to, I want to do it too, but we wanted to have this show with you is so people knew who to look for in the combine. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've not covered a draft in a way where a team does not have a single first round pick. So I'm in uncharted territory here. You and Travis will be accenting me as the student of the game because I'm gonna be learning a whole bunch of stuff. And before we really break down into it, the first question, just kind of get off the ground. What is different about approaching the offseason when you don't have a first round pick?
You got to dive a little deeper, right? I mean, now it's not it's the top 10 guys. We talk about the same. They don't get on the clock till 56. So now you got to go deeper cuts. And not only do you have to kind of project who's off the board, but you kind of got to start digging to figure out, okay, who makes sense? Every prospect isn't perfect. There's a reason this guy's on the board. And I don't know. I like looking for those guys, those under the radar guys, like going through and churning for guys. And you start looking, you're like, why aren't people higher on him? Every so often you find one, you're like, I can see it. And you're like, so those are the fun ones. Cause then when you're right, you're like, see, the NFL don't know what they're talking about. And you had that guy's a day 3 guy. Come on.
You sound like me talking about LaQuint Allen last year. How about
Facts.
So with all that in mind, the other piece I throw in here too is just to get a couple of the rules out of the way. We will not be doing trades tonight here on this particular edition of the Way Too Early Prepare for Combine Mock Draft here. And another element I'm going to introduce throughout is the different classes, how strong they are or aren't. Jamal's read on that, Travis's read on that, all those happy things. But gentlemen, I think with all that in mind, it is time for us to get underway and do the thing. Hopefully I can get in here and there. Yay, I didn't break it. Okay. So with that in mind, gentlemen, after spending Thursday wherever you were for the first round, and keep in mind, we're assuming no trades, but for those who haven't seen the top 10 trades by James Gladstone that we did, I think it was last week, Travis. Yeah. That was just 1 year he made 10 trades. Yeah. Expect something to happen. I'm not saying Howie Roseman, but don't rule it out. So with all the above being said, the Jags are officially on the board at 56. The top prospect currently available, according to PFSN, is Caden McDonald at defensive tackle.
You don't want to go back to special teams?
I'm going. No, I just who the top available was. I mean, we could look at it and said, we're totally going to replace Cam Little. Come on, Jamal. But that's about as smart as making a 60-yard field goal 4 points. Yeah. Anyways, I said what I said to the UFL. Moving on.
There are a few guys that I love available right now, and this is going to be an interesting conversation. And I would love to know where Jamal / Mr. James Gladstone in this situation would lean on the guys that we're looking at on the screen.
So my first thought process goes to the Jaguars have needs that they got to fill in free agency, right? So for the sake of conversation right now, to me, one of the biggest needs is you got to figure out corner. You know, you got Travis Hunter on one end, but you're going to need a boundary corner on the other side. So that's where Chris Johnson, who's on the board, immediately jumps off as I feel like in free agency, they'll probably go and get a Rasul Douglas, a Kader Kofu, a stopgap veteran type. Because or maybe you bring Greg Newsome back on a prove it kind of deal, but that's not a guy that is going to hinder you from drafting a replacement, right? That's a guy who can come and compete. So that's what jumps off the board to me first. I don't think I'd go Emmett Johnson here. I don't love him as a fit. And I definitely wouldn't go wide receivers. You want to scroll down a little bit and see who else is on the board. But I would definitely lean defense overall because I just think they need that. And I think this is a really strong off-ball linebacker draft, so you could probably get a guy a little bit later. That's my thoughts.
Yep. I mean, forgive me. You mentioned corner, but like,
you need defensive tackle.
I see Kane McDonald there, and I start thinking a little bit at least. I mean, at least look in that direction, don't I?
It's a different body type, right? He's a D Ham. Right. Like most of the defensive tackles in this year's class are Devon Hamilton and not Eric Armstead. Like they're not your three technique. They're not the penetrator. They're not the pass rushing guy. I mean, in order to get those guys early, you got to go up and get Caleb Banks or Peter Woods. You're going to have to make the trade to go up. Can Gladstone get that done into Peter Woods territory, for instance? Maybe. But for the sake of this conversation, I don't think McDonald fills it. I love Dominique Orange, but I don't know that he fills the need right here. I mean, I have my eyes on a couple of guys in the mid to late rounds that I think could scratch that itch, if you will. But I just don't know if any of these guys are it. Like Grayson Holton a little bit, but I just don't love him.
And it's funny, and I like Chris McLean, and that's funny. That's funny to me because I thought he was one of the better like pass rushing options, but he was not a three technique necessarily. He's just a big guy who gives you a little bit more than D Ham. So if you're going to have on second downs, you're going to have a guy who can still stop the run, but still give you a little bit of on the plus side. Then that's for later down the line because again, he's probably going to be a fourth round guy in that range, especially if you have guys like. Especially if you have guys like Caden already dropping, then I'm like, all right, cool, that's fine. You got nose tackles dropping in a very heavy one technique, draft. I'm fine by that. So I'm kind of with Jamal as far as the cornerback room is concerned. If you can get a guy like Chris Johnson, because he's good in special teams. Also, I think you're never going to go wrong with that. He's already one of those quote unquote intangibly,
intangibly rich.
Absolutely,
guys.
Before we run the picking, can we look at the linebacker group?
Absolutely.
Sake of life, because I mean, I feel like you're going to be able to snatch one of these guys in the next round. I really like Kyle Lewis. I'm a big on him. He's a little undersized. I think he'll rise after the combine. Deontay Lawson, man, you want a guy who plays downhill recklessly. He's good. Jacob Rodriguez is smart, a converted quarterback, and he plays like it. I mean, one of the most productive linebackers in college football. And Jake Galday, he's another interesting one that there's a little bit of a conversion from how Cincinnati used him. But, I mean, when he arrives, and that's a big, strong guy that could work. I think Galday's probably gone by the time the Jags get on the board here, but I wouldn't hate the Galday pick either.
Yeah, there's
funny.
a lot.
That's funny. The only one you didn't name I thought was interesting because that's Tariq York because everybody talks about how smart he is and how much he's a lot like for you. I wouldn't take him here. No, I wouldn't take him here, but I'm really focusing on our next pick, and that's where I was like, it's interesting because that you talk about him like Fourier, but that people talk about him like in that Fourier mold is just being the field general, who's the guy who can basically coach everybody up and be in the right spots. And I just thought that was interesting
because he is small, but he is smart. So he needs to test well. Like for me to feel comfortable with him, I need to see him run the 40. Like I don't have the GPS time. So you got to know that this guy has the athletic traits that he can differentiate from the size. Right. And I don't know if he has it, but we'll see. I don't know. Cause he has really short arms too. Have there been a bunch of short off-ball linebackers that have made it work? Absolutely. But is he the next one? I don't know. That's tough.
You got to be able to shed and not having long arms is going to put you in a disadvantage there if you're already small. I got you.
And as I'm walking through it, guys, I think you're making a good point about mixing best available with need, especially at this point. You can't really do one or the other because the best availables are already off the board theoretically, unless somebody or and a lot of somebody's are really screwing up. But yeah, I agree with Jamal. I figured your response would be the body type for Caden McDonald. I see some of the offensive line options because let's put it this way. The depth of the class at the offensive line this year isn't very high. If you're going to going higher makes sense to let the depth of the draft fill it out. But with his, I mean, listen, you're pounding the table. Both of you are excited about Chris Johnson. If you went that direction, I wouldn't be angry at it. You know, playing my part as Tony Baselli. So I will give Travis his personal Christmas and adhere to Jamal St. Cyr. I didn't even mean to make that rhyme. There's our first pick, which is in the second round. And there you go. The Jags here. We're not doing a trade. Sorry, Chargers. So with that in mind, we got
Jaguars go cornerback with the first pick. Let's go. I'm happy.
There you go. It says right there, my picks, Chris Johnson. The people who are listening to the podcast don't understand how much Travis is salivating. So with all that being said, we're now up at pick 88 in the third round overall. The top available is Jonah Coleman of Washington, center Parker Brailsford, and then Jadarian Price at running back as well. The top three available. And then
I would love to see Jamal walk this tightrope of trying to figure out who he's going to prefer between Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, and Jonah Coleman.
Yep. I love Jonah Coleman. I love him. I love him as a fit to pair with Bashal Tootin. I think he's going to be a really good running back. He's the David Montgomery to Tootin's Jahmyr Gibbs, if you will. The thunder to his lightning. He runs like a madman. But I mean, I'll tell you, I like Jadarian Price too. He just hasn't really been the bell cow guy. He was the second guy at Notre Dame, so that's a little bit of a question mark. But when he was given the opportunity, crazy productive. All that being said, Jaguars need a linebacker. I don't think Devin Lloyd's coming back. I don't think they're going to go to maybe they go to free agency and can land a Quay Walker on a discount, but that's a maybe. That's a maybe. If you bring in Quay, then that puts this to bed a little bit, but at some point you start looking toward, adding to that linebacker room. Jack Kaiser hasn't proved himself. You have Bryson Combs, who hasn't proved himself. The way we're operating right now is they didn't add anybody in free agency, and Ventrell Miller is your de facto starter at linebacker. I'm going to get one of these boys between Jacob Rodriguez and Deontay Lawson. I absolutely love both of them, and I think either one could work. They're both a little bit of a different kind of guy, and there's a part of me that says Lawson might be where I'd go over Rodriguez, and I like Jacob Rodriguez.
Ooh, that's interesting because I think if you're talking about the Jaguars as they are currently constructed, and that could change day by day depending on the situation. Depending on what decisions they want to make. But as they're currently constructed, having someone like a Foyer who is basically just destroying guys as far as destroying these blockers and keeping the other guys kind of clean, like with that defensive line help, that interior D line help, D Ham and Eric Armstead in the middle, that helps Devin Lloyd to have that freedom to kind of just be as free as he is in that pass, in the passing game.
Right.
Having a guy who was that dominant in tackling paired with another guy who was that dominant and just shutting down the middle of the field feels like a very strong combination of dudes. And because of that, me looking at someone like a Jacob Rodriguez, who is also equally strong in that, limiting tight ends, limiting people in the middle of the field kind of area, I'm just like, it's hard for me to say no. You have to feel like they really did want Devin Lloyd to be in here based on his skill set, just not based on his price. Right. Jacob Rodriguez feels like a very good consolation prize at that point, from my perspective, if you like that combination.
When you talk about intangibly rich, he has everything besides some of the athletic traits, and that's what's sliding him maybe. A little size, he's slightly undersized and probably not the greatest athlete, but he is smart as a whip. But Deontay Lawson comes downhill like a reckless wild man.
That's it.
The way he can play the run, and he is an absolute athlete. You let that guy play sideline to sideline, and you want a physical defense. He gives you every bit of that. So to me, it's they're apples and oranges. They're different guys, so it just depends on, like, to me, if for some reason you were trying to replace Foye, Jacob Rodriguez is my pick without a question. Trying to replace Devin Lloyd a little bit, I lean to Lawson a little bit because I feel like those two are more similar than Rodriguez, but I also don't know, like, perfect world what Camp wants in that position. You know what I mean?
And that's the part that stinks. It's just like, you're not wrong. Jacob Rodriguez will be an improvement in the passing game for Foye, but still giving you some of the same traits as far as how they'll be used. But I'm just trying to figure out if I need a guy who I know can run with dudes, and and then kind of figuring out the rest from there. But at the end of the day, that's a tough one because they do need a running back. They do need a linebacker at this point. So if I'm not saying it has to be a linebacker, but we have two guys that we both love. It's just the question of which one we have ranked higher. You seem to have, goodness gracious, the other back, Lawson ranked higher. I seem to be closer on the Rodriguez pick. I'm going to go with you on this one, just for the sake of time. I think that's reasonable, which means the Jacksonville Jaguars are drafting Deontay Lawson out of Alabama at pick. What is this? 81
or 81. Thank you.
And Kyle, if Rutledge was still on the board, I'd have been pushing for your O-lineman there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm noticing the lack of O-line. It is a concern. And actually, there's a comment I'll bring up, but let's go ahead and pull Lawson in there as well. As it goes over to pick 88. I'm going to take a quick moment, get some of these, a couple of these comments in here. By the way, Social Alky, man, listen, I understand the trade offer. We're not doing trades. There will be trades. Okay. We're not dodging them. It's just, for the love of Pete, God only knows what this machine will throw at us. It's hardly what I would call, air quotes, realistic on that. But I appreciate you calling out.
Yes, this is mock draft 1.0. When we get to
0.8,
maybe maybe when we get to the next one, we'll do trades.
And Preston mentions there's so many quarters in drafts nowadays. A lot of impact rookies at 25 were day 2 and day 3 guys. Scale for the position. If there's a talented defensive tackle or linebacker, take him. Might not be available after the 4th round or even the 3rd.
This isn't a good corner class. It dries up quick. There's a bunch of slot guys in this year's corner class, but if you need a boundary corner, it dries up fast, man.
Social was in there saying, grab McDonald if he's really rated that high, or trade out. And maybe Jimmy Stones would trade out, but McDonald was grabbed here, as said. O-line is important day 1. Unfortunately, the Jads aren't available day 1. And to be honest, I feel like the Jags upgrading interior-wise, because it's guard, because guard gets a bad rap in the draft, fair or not, you can kind of mortgage draft and get some guys later in the process. I see where you guys are going. Would I do it your way? No, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a Hall of Fame offensive lineman, allegedly. Right?
Hey, I told you if Rutledge was on the board, man, I like that dude.
Right.
You went to pick before us. What you want me to do?
Well, and that's the thing. Fit is the target here, right? And this is why I know why you passed up on the Ohio State defensive tackle that was available. Think Mason Graham, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you see how that's working out for everybody? Just throwing that out there, guys.
Mason Smith
and I still have 2 offensive linemen that I do believe are still on the board that I'm interested in as far as interior linemen. So we'll see what happens in our next pick. So where are we right now? Where are we leaning on at this current moment in time, sir?
Can we see the top of the board?
Yeah, that's actually a fair point.
The top of the board.
So we got your boy, Darian Price, Notre Dame running back who's available right now. That's an option.
Okay, so show me the running back board as a whole. Okay.
Yeah.
And after we look at the running back board, if you don't mind, if we can take a look at that interior O-lineman board also.
Hey, you get your turn. I'm trying to make the thing work.
Jamal's first. The guest first. No, I got you.
I'm good. I saw what I needed to see. We're good.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, with that in mind, let's see some of the big guys here.
Boom.
Yeah, Bo Stevens out of Iowa.
Top of the list. He was one of my guys that I was waiting to take a look at later. Caden Barnett, Barnett still of it. Where is he? I don't even see him. Is he already gone?
He may not be available. He may be off the board.
I think he may be already gone.
Yeah,
I could have swore he'd be here at 88. Jeez. All right.
Well, don't swear.
Right, they working.
Family show, homie. So
okay, so they all right. So that's why a lot of guys are dropping. They're snatching up the interior O lineman around early, basically in this mock draft. So maybe I don't know if Jamal has anybody that he's interested in as far as that's still available on the board. That's the question of.
Yeah, I'm leaning offensive tackle here. Yep. I like Isaiah World as an option as a swing tackle. Caleb Tiernan is also an option, but I'd probably reach a little bit here. I like Austin Barber as the swing tackle option, probably the most out of what's on the board. Physical kid, local kid helps. High character, plays physically. He can give you a little. He played left at Florida and can swing to the right in the NFL. Probably is more comfortable home. You got to replace that swing tackle spot because I mean that's where you lost Cole Van Lanen. I mean right now you got Walker Little in the building, but as we start looking at clearing up cap, is Walker Little one of the guys that's on the move possibly? So. And I'm big on once you get to these middle rounds, stock up on offensive linemen either way. You got a contract with Anton Harrison coming up soon. So you got decisions to make. Yep. So I'd lean offensive tackle. Yeah, Jay baby.
I'm really with you. And it sucks because I really wanted to Caden Barnett and Bo Stevens were my two interior line that I circled that I wanted to walk away with round 4, round 5 at one of those two guys. And it sucks that we're at the top of that they've gone around early in this mock draft. So I'm actually with you. The swing tackle conversation, obviously getting Walker Little's contract off the books is key. I mean, I hope they get anything for him that'd be worthwhile.
Yes.
So if you end up choosing that your favorite offensive tackle right now being Austin Barber, hey, I'll go with you there. Honestly, I had 0 offensive tackles on my board right now. Like that is all interior O linemen. I really just want a road grader to help out at that Patrick McCarry spot and maybe even challenge.
Well, we got your guy already for that, I think.
I know we do, right, Milam? Like I'm with you, but
you sound a little more disappointed.
Hey man,
a little more disappointed.
I want what I knew was a guaranteed weakness to become a strength. And if that means I'm raising that ceiling by bringing in some legitimate competition, and you can have Wyatt Milam as your guy while also saying while Milam's the guy, the roadway's open, he's still got to earn it. Like, and I think that's reasonable as far as bringing another guy in for the 4th round pick, 5th round pick.
And you know what? I think you can find guards later. Guards, typically, you can find a guy who was a tackle in college that needs to convert to guard and get a steal there. I mean, historically says you can find a guard on day 3 that might be ready to start day 1 if you grab the right guy. So, and on the interior, like, I feel good about where Jonah Monheim is. And we saw him play a handful last year. He gives you a little guard center versatility a little bit. You already have Wyatt Milam, who they envision as a guard. You still got Ezra. You still got McCarry as of right now. You add a guy a little bit later, I think you're okay.
I love that as of right now. But yeah, I got you.
Everybody can't stay. Somebody got
that's the funny part about it. I'm happy to hear you say it because people think I'm crazy when I say these things because they're like, well, that's their guy. They brought him in. I'm like, dude, y'all don't understand. They brought that dude in on a 2-year contract. Obviously, there was going to be a chance where they either draft their way out of that contract or they just have another guy who plays better and he plays his way out of the role, whatever that is. Like,
they brought in Hunter Long and benched him.
They
brought in De'Ami Brown and benched him.
De'Ami Brown, Jesus.
They brought in Chuma Adoga, benched him. I mean,
they brought in Fred Johnson and traded him.
Ain't nothing personal. It's just business.
And it's not even about a lack of talent. I think fit is important here. And that's the point I would make to Social Alki, right? No defensive tackle in the top 4 picks. Listen, I'm concerned too. But what you're actually seeing transpire is that the Jags will inevitably put all their chips on the table and get John Franklin Myers, and then it's a non-issue.
They're going to trade up. Well, realistically, they're going to trade up at some point. Like, I would be shocked if their first pick's at 56.
Right.
I think they're going to they have 11 picks, and they have no reason to bring 11 rookies into camp.
Correct. I'm still blocking. I'm still blocking Thursday night on the calendar for the wife to understand that I might have to do a show. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think Thursday night, but I think early second round. Like, it wouldn't shock me if at the end of round 1, there's a guy on the board and Gladstone says, I got overnight to get a deal to get up to 33 because he has the ammo to get there and go get his guy. Could he slide in at 32? Absolutely. If Caleb Banks or Peter Wood starts to slide in, I think you go get him. You got the ammo to go do it, but that's a little bit more expensive than getting to the top of the second round. I think 33, you start thinking, okay, at any given moment, this man going to pull the trigger and go get his guy.
No, I'm with you. And to the point that everybody's freaking out about, it's got to be a defensive tackle. It's got to get a defensive tackle. Oh man, we're at our 3rd pick. We don't have a defensive tackle. Y'all, do y'all remember when we had Luke Fortner as a starting center of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then everybody and then everybody was freaking out. Everybody wanted, who was it? Was it Graham Barton that cycle, or was it that was the JPP cycle when everybody just kept mocking
Jackson Powers Johnson?
Yeah, it was JPP, Jackson Powers Johnson. Everybody just kept mocking him to Jacksonville over and over. And then they signed the boy from Buffalo, or Mitch Morris, and then it was like nobody was. And then this whole conversation was nothing for after a month of talking about this, and it meant nothing.
I'm gonna get you. You don't get a DT. Don't you worry. We're gonna get the big boy. You don't get it.
I'm saying that's not for you. That's for them. That's for them. I need them to know if you sign John Franklin Myers, just for instance, let's use that name in free agency, you're not freaking out about not having a defensive tackle in your first 2 picks.
Realistically, Devon Hamilton's holding down one of those spots, and he's playing. As of right now, Eric Armstead is still on the roster, and he is playing at the other spot. They're going to probably go and get a veteran defensive tackle of some shape or form to bring into that room. So reasonably, the solution isn't necessary. Like, the solution wasn't on the board in the second round. You bring in another rookie that you get at some point in round 4, round 5, that's fine. Let him go and compete for slots. But you want to find a guy that's specialized. Think LaQuint Allen, 7th round, but he had a job. They drafted him with a position in mind, and day 1 he was playing. There are guys on the board that solve the problem the Jaguars have at defensive tackle, but that there's weaknesses. Like, is this guy ever going to be an every down guy? Was the level of competition a question mark? Like, I have 2 guys that I have earmarked that I think will go late, that we'll talk about at some point, that I think solve the problem better than some of the early big body guys. Like, I love Dominique Orange, but I think he's more of a D-Ham than the 3 technique that the Jaguars need.
Yep. Agreed. He may be an eventual upgrade, but at the end of the day, he is basically the same thing. It's the same problem, different person, different name.
Yes.
So I'm with you there.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is this pick, after all this conversation, this pick is still Austin Barber. Is that where we're at, gentlemen?
I do believe so.
Yeah, that's where we landed.
All right, consensus. Who am I going to argue as the offensive lineman? Though I am surprised that Travis didn't pound the table harder for Isaiah World. He's the large, big type that also can move a little bit. That I believe is more fits kind of Travis.
I need someone who struggles with pass protection, and that's why they dropped. But they're also dominant in the run game, and I feel like the coaches will see him and be like, "Yeah, I can coach that out of him." I need somebody with that's because I need some maulers. We got to get this running game started, man.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, Barber ain't a small boy now. Barber ain't a small boy now.
I got you.
Anyway, so that pick is in. Number 88 is Austin Barber, offensive tackle out of Florida. And now at the 100th pick, Katron Allen, the top pick on the board at running back out of Penn State. Max Clare, the tight end at Ohio State, the next in line. And then defensive tackle, Dominic Orange.
This is crazy. Just take him.
Okay, Travis?
I mean, right? He's still on the board at 100. I don't know why, but
but you almost have to. Yeah, you at that point you don't even have a choice. It's not even a choice.
See,
I'm mad about the fact that there's no choice. But no, we got to talk about it.
He had the Laramie Tunsil tumble. Like, and they took my guy at running back. Dang,
go ahead. Tumble. By the way, as somebody who was writing for the Dolphins Wire that year, that was a lot of fun to cover. I'm just going to throw that out there. Anyways, Dominic Orange, the pick, and before the 3rd round is over, the Jacksonville Jaguars snag their defensive tackle. 3 out of the 4 positions are
Demond
defensive
Claiborne.
so far, and
Let's
not
go.
one single offensive skill player. Good God, Travis, I feel awkward saying this out loud. I think you're having an inappropriate reaction we can't see off camera. So, at any rate, 117, the top
Right.
available prospect is according to PFSN is Demond
Demond
Claiborne of Wake Forest
Yeah.
at running back, Lander Barton at linebacker, and Takario Davis at corner. Top offensive prospects beyond Claiborne are Jude Barry out of Boston College, and then defensively, I mean,
So let me ask you, Jamal, if you don't mind.
Yeah, here we go.
Well, first of all, can you show me the running back room,
Yes.
the running backs that are available? But I need your opinion of I need your opinion of Claiborne, first of all, because he's versatile. I mean, we talked about him in the chat before. Like, he's versatile. He has similar strengths. He's like similar to like Jamal Haynes, who's similar to Travis Etienne early on. And that's where I'm like, all right, but Claiborne has like more consistent production at least versus, Haynes. He gives you a little bit of opportunity, we'll call it, in pass protection. I mean, he's a smaller guy. He'll give you the effort, but I get it overall. I'm just looking at the guys that are available. This is the one that's on my spreadsheet that's labeled orange. And orange are my guys. So not Claiborne, Kalon Black. Kalon Black is my guy. He is the one. Like, if we talked about this last year when we talked about LaQuint Allen, when we talked about Kyle Monangai. And I don't know if you remember, I re-listened to our podcast from last year, this time just yesterday, and I'm like, we talked about the fact that Kyle Monangai is going to be a 15-year NFL starter just on his pass protection. He was plus in the run game, and then we see what he did this year, and I'm like, hey man, we might have been wrong about the team, but we was right about the player. That's how I feel about Kalon Black. Like, I feel like you're Jacksonville Jaguars fans. He's the new James Robinson. And he's not a guy who's going to destroy you as far as his speed, because he's not a burner. That's what's going to drop him. But he has the vision. He gives you chops in the passing game. They just didn't use it very much, but every time they did, it seemed very comfortable doing it. Good in pass protection, short area agility. He forces missed tackles all the time, and you're getting him generally late in the draft. And we know how Gladstone loves mid-round draft guys. I've been talking about that on the socials for a while now. Like, for the Rams, they love guys in that realistically 5th to 7th round range. They do this all the time. Nearly every year, they're going to take a flyer on one of those guys.
Look, Gladstone's made his bread and butter getting day 3 guys. I mean, he made it no secret that, Bashal Tootin was one of his pitch guys during his interview that he wanted. You asked about Demond Claiborne. He's fun. You want a big play running back? You want juice on demand, a guy that can make something out of nothing? He's got a little his running style gives me a little like old school Sproles to it, right? It's kind of jittery, like he's kind of tough in space, but he's undersized. He's had a ton of carries on that undersized body already. He had some fumbling problems in college. I do like him. I like Bud Clark too and Zachy Weekly, but I do think they got to get a running back here. And I'm gonna tell you, can I give you a pitch for a different guy? Because I do like your guy too. But the one that jumps off the list for me is the height, weight, speed freak of Nicholas Singleton. A little bit of a down year over there in Penn State.
Nick. Yeah.
Look, I know there's been some issues. I get it. And going into the year, people thought he was a guaranteed high pick. So getting him as a steal on day 3, he is a height, weight, speed freak. The ceiling for him is one of the highest of any running back in this class if he puts it all together. I mean, outside of once you start talking about Jeremiah Love, he has a high ceiling. He has the tools. Can Chad Morton go to work and get my man to put them all together, something that they struggled to do at Penn State, but this was a Penn State team that kind of underachieved all the way around. There was a little bit of flux there. Nick Singleton, I think, is the guy that's going to blow up the combine this week, bro.
Yeah.
Because this is what he does. And when you start talking about running backs, you want crazy athletes at running backs. Those are the ones that tend to succeed the most. I don't know. Nicholas Singleton's the one that turns my eye. And I like Demond Claiborne and I like Black, but Singleton at this point seems like a home run kind of swing kind of guy. Like, if it works, bring him in and let him fight for it. And if he puts the tools together, you got yourself a dude for 4 years.
And something that was brought up in the comments, you guys are chopping it up at a lot of positions. Not one word about safety yet. Preston points out here, which I find interesting.
I'm gonna let Jamal take this. We've had this conversation already. Yeah, go ahead.
Safety's a need, but it's not. Like Antonio Johnson really blossomed last year in the system. You have Caleb Ransall, which is essentially a fresh draft pick coming off of an injury. You still have Eric Murray under contract, who's going to be back. You have Rayon Lane, who the team's really high on, who's going into his second year. So those are 4 guys right there in-house, while some of them are unproven that are going to fight for the job. So when you think about it, what does bringing a rookie safety in really do for the room, unless it's a guy that you feel like is a true difference maker? You already have unproven guys. You got 2 second-year guys, both of which basically didn't play defense. So they're both basically rookies as it is. So if anything, you want to bring in another veteran guy that you feel comfortable with what you're getting, rather than going to get a Bud Clark. Look, nothing against Bud Clark, and I think there's some safeties in this class that really have a chance. Like Zachy Wheatley's interesting. Bud Clark's fun. Halsey from LSU, if you want to go safety early, I think is a fun guy. But I just don't know that fills the spot. And honestly, the board just hasn't spoke to it this go round.
Right. Yeah. Like there's few guys that I love if the Jaguars truly wanted to dig in and get in Campanelli, his guy, as far as I need a guy who's going to have incredible range and be a great center field safety. If that's truly what he wanted his identity to be. But then that's still not the guys that we've necessarily looked at so far. Like that's been available, to Jamal's earlier point, on the board so far. So like Bud Clark is fine. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not necessarily sure that that's the pick here. Like, I don't think he's anything special that's going to necessarily break the roster, break the guys that they already have in those positions. So otherwise, you're just talking about for depth. Like Genesis Smith was the guy who was listed as one of my guys, but he has a freaking high tackle rate, like a high missed tackle rate. I don't think that that's necessarily going to work out either. So it's just kind of like, in this draft class with what they have, I don't know how that's necessarily going to work out, to Jamal's earlier point. And that's kind of what I'm just like,
and I got to get Preston in here. I know Ransall, but like Travis, I don't believe in promise. I think we do take a safety.
Hey, man, show me.
And there's something to be said. I don't know where you guys are going to go instead, but there's something to be said. I see a Michael Taft, that kind of a personality guy, I think, is somebody who makes sense if you're looking for somebody who's known as a leader. If you're expecting the Jags to move off of Dewey Wingard, which still feels weird to hear said, Taft is a way you could go. Taft. I just like saying that too.
He's on my list. I only got 2 safeties on my list, and he's the other one. It's Genesis Smith.
I'm not even a DB or a draft expert.
Genesis Smith. I love Genesis Smith's game more than I love Michael Taft's game, but I just hate Genesis Smith's missed tackle rate. That's my problem.
Sure.
This is incomplete in that way. If they feel like they can teach that out of him, then I'm like, oh no, that's my guy. Coverage wise, that's it.
We're rounding the horn quite a bit, gentlemen. I'm not sure which direction you're actually headed at this point. There's a lot of.
We're taking one of the running backs here.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're back. We were competing on the running backs, and because I want to make this a big argument, I'm going to go with whatever Jamal goes with. But I want you to know my line in it, just like we said last year with Kyle Monongai. I need this on the record, Your Honor. My line.
Black is his guy.
Scalon Black is my guy. Yes.
I can't find the comments, but I saw no fewer than 2 that was calling for Black just like you.
Yes. So, I mean, hey, we can go with the crowd. I'm good with Black. I just wanted to make the pitch on Singleton as the height, weight, speed freak. That at some point we're on day 3. You're taking flyers on guys.
We're going to go with the guy who just last year said his favorite guy was Bayshaw Tootin, and the team drafted Bayshaw Tootin. So I'm going to go with you on this running back thing. We're going to see if you can go 2 for 2.
If I can go 2 for 2, all right. We'll see if I can put it together. All right.
And I'll before I hit the button, I'll ask the question: do you feel like you could float another round and still get Singleton?
Maybe, but I was trying to wait on Mike Washington, and then they snatched him from me. Oh, that was like my ace in the sleeve, because I said it like real quick when we got on the board at 100. I said, my guy just went, and we saw Dominic Orange, and it was like, all right, no conversation, here we go. So I don't know if I want to keep playing with it, because at some point, like Robert Henry's interesting, Seth McGowan, like I don't want to get down there thinking I need a guy that can at least come in and compete for the running back spot.
There you go. He doesn't want to get burned again. That's as good a reason as any. I will select Nicholas Singleton here for this panel. Hopefully we don't get too many tomatoes from the crowd. And the reason why I believe, Jamal, you're moving on is because there's not another pick until 162.
Right.
And sure enough.
So now we can get to those late round 3 technique options that may still be available, or some developmental interior O lineman or whatever else may be kind of floating out there.
Okay, I'm gonna need them to rethink this defensive tackle board, because Corleone's still on the board. The Godfather's, there's no chance that the Godfather's still on the board at this point. There is zero chance.
At 162.
There is no chance the Godfather is still on the board at 162. Can I go back and redo Dominique Orange at 100? Because I can just get Corleone at 162.
That's wild. That is wild.
Okay, but that's fine. Let's look. Yeah, let's scroll on defensive tackle a little bit here. Can you scroll down and see who's on the board still?
Yeah, there it goes. It's working with too. So Corleone out of Cincinnati, Nick Barnett, South Carolina, Rayshon Benny of Michigan, Devin Eastern out of Minnesota, Cameron Ball out of Arkansas, and the highest forecast matches 162 according to PFSN for your guy, the Godfather there, Jamal. So that's obviously an option there as well. People are digging the Corleone concept here in the comments. J Baby's all about your Singleton pick here in the comments, Jamal. So you do have a few fans. There's not too many people throwing tomatoes. But yeah,
I mean, but the problem as it stands is you're not drafting Corleone because you've already drafted Orange. You've already drafted Citrus. So you feel like it's basically because of that fear of missing out. We missed out not knowing that he was going to be available at this point. That was just your great chance.
There's no chance.
It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. But let's see who else is available on the other positions, because the 3 technique pass rushing option seems to be pretty much bare bones at that point.
So I don't know. Have you looked at Caleb Proctor out of Southeastern Louisiana yet?
I have not.
Okay, he was who I was holding out for. I didn't see him when we scrolled. He's interesting. He's your twitchy 3, small school guy. But when I look at small school guys, the first tape I always throw on is I want to see you when you played the big school. My man came up with 2 sacks against LSU. Team got throttled. He didn't get throttled. I remember that's when I realized. Okay. I remember I'll go back. Matt Forte. I remember watching him at Tulane against LSU. Didn't have a great running total, but my man never got tackled in the backfield, and he was having to people. I was like, oh, he got something here, and it turned out to work.
Got you. Yeah, you can. You can search for him, Kyle. If you think he's still on the board, then
I don't think
I don't know if he is.
Oh, okay.
He scrolled a little bit. I mean, who knows? They might have him way down there because there he is. Yeah, look, Caleb Proctor. He's that far. We can wait on him. I would take him with the last.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But I
that's how they want to list it
as an option. As a late kind of 3 technique kind of guy. I saw our Navy guy went off the board already, but if Proctor's
who's our Navy guy
later? What's his name? The defensive tackle out of Navy. Yeah, hold up. I got it over here. I'll find it.
So who we got? Charlie Dennings. We got
Navy.
So click on all Nash, if you don't mind. I'm just curious who's
Landon
out
Robinson.
there.
Landon Robinson.
Oh, Landon. Yeah. Okay.
Undersized guy, ton of sack production, but your question with him's competition and blah, 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 blah. Look, he's quick. He's effective. He's the penetrator. A little bit of an undersized defensive tackle. I think he could fill a role for you with a late round flyer. He'd be worth it. But in this case, with the way the board fell, this is where I'd probably look for either an edge or a safety, depending on how the board fell for those 2 positions.
Yeah, let's get into some edge talk. No, that's because again, now at this point we're getting into the land of all right. You got anybody who has the traits, and just see if you can coach them up. But I don't know a lot of the names. I'm going to be honest about this. Like I'm just looking around. All right, as far as your edge group is concerned, Vincent. Oh, actually, no. Vincent Anthony Jr. Let's go, Duke. What we talking about?
Check tight end for me too. just for sake of
He
life.
He's literally the last defensive end I have on the guys that I'm interested in.
I mean, if
okay,
you
let's
can
go your
take
defensive end.
ACC players seriously,
Because we're back on the board in 2 picks.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
Yeah. No, Vincent Anthony Jr. was the last defensive end that I had on my list.
Take him.
And I actually had him going anywhere from the 2nd to the 4th round. So
in
he's
the event
there,
that Dennis Gardeck moves on, you have somebody that steps in. That's not
I think you need competition in that edge room to replace what you were supposed to get from Ugba and Smoot.
Right.
You're going to bring back BJ Green and Danny Strigal, who go into their 2nd year as your top backups, but this gives you another person in that room. And I think Vincent Anthony Jr. is a solid pick, especially at this stage of the draft. I think that works perfectly. So can we check out the tight end room now? Because that's one that we haven't addressed that honestly is slightly concerning, that I think people.
So why is that concerning for you? Let me get your philosophy as well as like, why is that concerning for you?
Who's your tight end behind Brenton Strange?
I mean, you got Hunter Long, and I mean, you got Hunter Long, and you got goodness gracious, Johnny Munn.
So Hunter Long was inactive at the end of the season.
Yeah,
because he went from tight end 2, who caught the first touchdown of the year, all the way down to inactive.
Morris. Yeah, Quentin
all
Morris.
Right, and then Quentin Morris is a free agent, and Johnny Munt struggles to catch. So, and honestly, he could be a cap casualty because he's one of the guys you can save a little bit of money on if you move on.
Yeah.
So you have a handful of options there. Plus, let's think about what's in vogue. And I at this point, for me, I follow everything that the Rams are doing as the Jaguars might look at it. Does Liam Cohen want to have the 2 to 3 tight end sets? Who's your guys that can threaten in the passing game and give you something in the running game? And right now, the only one is Brenton Strange. So I could see them going to the veteran market and bring back Quentin Morris. I think that would be a no-brainer. But I think you got to add another tight end to that room, so that way he at least has that option in the bag. And right now he doesn't.
It's funny. People got mad at me when I said that. I said that exact Quentin Morris piece. Sorry. But I would bring Quentin Morris back for it's like $1.5 million or $2 million is like his market value on Spot Track. Like, come on. It's not even the conversation.
Yeah. Morris is a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer.
So I figured where you were going, but I wanted just to get it on the record as far as your philosophy, as far as why tight end is necessary. Right here.
I'll say this: tight end in this draft make more sense than last year when everybody was saying, "Oh, draft a tight end." No, this year, okay, I'm not as passionate about it. For anybody who was wondering, but yeah, with all that in mind,
one of the comments said it, and I don't remember who it was, but they were talking about John Michael out of Wyoming. Yeah. Storm the Desert. Storm the Desert always got some good tapes. There you go.
There you go.
If you want somebody who's going to be a dog in the run game and just digging them blocks out, basically another offensive lineman who gives you at least something in the passing game, let's do that. I feel very comfortable with that pick, especially if you're talking about a freaking 164. But I don't know if you have a favorite here.
I'm fine with John Michael Gillenberg. He had a little bit of a down year last season, so maybe you're getting him at a discount if you can get him back to where he was just the season before. Where there was a little bit more hype around him. Marlon Klein's another guy out of Michigan, a big body. He's going to be a good run blocker. So, I mean, I'm fine. I think John Michael Gillenberg is going to give you more in the passing game and more upside than what Klein gives you. The question is, can you get him back to where he was a season ago as opposed to the guy that showed up this year? And you know what? Jaguars have a really good tight end coach, so I'll take that bet.
I was just about to say that's what all the Jaguars coaching staff did in 2025 was take a whole team that was ill coached in 2024 and make half of these guys, or 3/4 of these guys, look way better. So if you think you can do that, I have to believe that they do believe that. Then you take the chance.
Absolutely. So I think that would be my pitch for this pick here.
Gotcha.
Fills a little bit of a hole and a guy that's going to probably have a role on game day and be up a lot of times in that room, because right now you don't have those tight ends you need.
Sure enough, John Michael Gillenborg is the pick, and out the door we go. Just a quick rundown, right? So you guys opened with Chris Johnson at corner out of San Diego State, Deontay Lawson, linebacker. That was pick 56. Deontay Lawson, 81, out of Alabama at linebacker, Austin Barber, 88 at offensive tackle. And then closing out your third round was Dominic Orange, the defensive tackle that everybody wanted out of Iowa State. Going into the fourth pick, then next was fourth round pick was Nicholas Singleton at running back, perhaps among the more divisive decisions out there out of Penn State. 162, Vincent Anthony Jr., the edge out of Duke. I prepared to make fun of Travis for that one at some point, potentially. And then John Michael Gillenberg, tight end out of Wyoming, bringing us to
I didn't see Sam Roche was still on the board because you want a dog in the run game. That's a big boy.
I don't know his game, but I'll add him to my list.
Hey, add him. Historically, them Stanford tight ends, man. Yeah. That's a big boy. That's your run block road grader right there.
So, okay. In light of that, we're at pick. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out the technicals here. Sorry, guys. I had it going, and then
did we pause it?
It's a whole thing. So, but yeah, keep going there.
I got you.
But yeah, while I get the board set up, what are you guys thinking in mind, position-wise at this juncture?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, this at this point in the draft, you're not even looking for a position necessarily. You're just looking for the best players that you can find. Unless, like, I have a few guys that I'm still interested in the Jaguars taking a look at, but that's just because I'm weird like that. They drafted Ray Lane from Navy last year, so you have to believe like that. When looking at the film, a lot of the times you're looking a year out. Like, you'll see the guy that you're interested in right now, but you're also having, oh yeah, this guy pops out on tape. I'm just writing this name down for the future draft. For me, it was Eli Heidenreich, who's a wide receiver / running back, who's like the slot back, whatever you want to call it. I saw that. I was like, oh, all right, shifty former wide receiver running back. He ain't scared of contact. Like, he's gonna run through it. Like, you could see him like literally, like, he's Bashaw Tutin's height and weight. Basically, he's an inch high, taller than Bashaw Tutin. And he can play prototypical running back, if that makes sense, but he also can be the like Swiss Army like knife type guy. They can put him at De'Ami Brown role, have him doing all those same jet sweeps that they love to run, whether it's Parker Washington running it or whether it's De'Ami Brown running it. You can have out there blocking and doing screens. The Jaguars struggled with running screens in the 2025 season because they either had guys getting blown up, getting ran through at the line of scrimmage. They just weren't stout and blocking, or they just wouldn't take the ball and get upfield. It's something as simple as that. He's good at both of those things. He also can play outside and be a go route guy. So he can even be your future Parker Washington coming from Navy instead of Penn State, another blue and white team. I just thought it was an interesting little thing if you can get him in the late rounds, because he's a really low developmental kind of guy, but also it's a Navy school, so he's gonna give you those leadership traits, those intangibles, and all of that stuff. You're probably not gonna go wrong.
See, he's a guy I can't figure out. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I don't know.
It's because of the offense.
It's the offense. It's like, can I play him at running back? Because he hasn't really played conventional running back. Is he a receiver? Like, can he actually get open? I can't figure him out. I'm not gonna lie.
They only give him 5. They only give him 5 routes: slants, corner routes, posts, go routes. The quick game. But none of the like complicated. Like, you don't see him running a lot of the option routes and things of that nature. But what they ask him to do, he's really good at doing. Sure. It's just you got questions on what he can't do because you haven't seen him. They don't make him try, I guess. So, but I like what he does, if that makes sense.
Yeah, look, he's a very interesting guy. I think he would be a tool and a weapon but he's a guy you got to have a vision for. Probably he could be a really good kickoff return.
I saw him as a glue guy. I saw him as a guy who you can use in a boatload of places. Then if you're that deep down at that point, you can use him here. Hey, I can use him in the De'Ami role if I need to, or I can use him as your Tim Patrick stand-in. Basically, the reason you got him is because you needed a guy who can block and do all the dirty work without complaining, and still be a guy who basically never feel like you need to. You don't feel deficient that he needs to leave the field because he can't do something. But also, he may not give you a great feeling
enough for that.
That's the
Like
question.
when I watched him, that's what I was struggling with. Like, is he twitchy enough to be what he looks like he is? Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like on this pick, I've seen who I would take. He's another one that I struggle to believe is on the board. But Eric McAllister from TCU just keeps staring at me. And I mean, hyper productive. He's a big guy. He's got some wheels to him. I think it's not. And again, this isn't that I think the Jaguars necessarily need to add to that wide receiver room at this point. You're maybe replacing Tim Patrick, but he's just looking at me. I don't know what you want me to do.
And another point I see in the comments too is how well-rounded the draft is so far. Right? We have a corner, a linebacker, an offensive tackle, a D tackle. Do we have two of the same position yet? We don't have two of the same position yet, gentlemen. This is nuts. I love it.
In real life, I do believe that that's something they would do, though. If they were able to find the right 3 technique that just happened to I could see them drafting the right 3 technique if it just happened to be available on the board at the time they were on the clock, and then doubling back and still getting a nose tackle because there are so many of those guys in this draft. Like that, I could see in real life when this draft does take place that they can leave the draft with 2 defensive tackles. It just didn't happen in the way that this draft went, but I'm with you so far. Like at the end of the day, you think the strongest option is going with the 6'6" wide receiver that gives us something that we don't have in this wide receiver room right now. I'm not really going to argue with you. Like they need the body type. They obviously traded for the body type because they felt like they didn't have that. So I'm not going to push hard. I'm just telling you that Eli was one of my guys who I could see the vision for being such a low pick, being a nearly, borderline undrafted free agent type of guy. And that's all. So whether he's now or later, he's probably going to be available.
Yeah, look, I'm with you. I think he's a guy who's worth a flyer, especially when you get into those late rounds. I just can't figure him out of like exactly where I think he would fit best at. Like a fun highlight tape. I just wonder, and he's the thing when you watch those guys, his level of competition in the offense is you start questioning how twitchy is this guy really? What is gonna separate? And you're looking at 2 positions where twitch does matter. And it's not necessarily like I'm talking about top speed, but Julian Edelman was fantastic because he got in and out of breaks very quickly at full speed. Same thing that made Wes Welker special. So can he do that?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I'm going to be legit. I want to be really honest with you because, and I try my best not to come across saying the wrong things. And I hate when people make comparisons based on race. Like they'll be like, oh, Christian McCaffrey is the next. I don't even know what other white running back I can name. But it's just that sort of comparison, right?
Sure.
When I saw Eli playing, I'm like, okay, I see. Great value, Jack Besh. I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't want to say it, but that was where my mind immediately went, and I'm just like.
I don't know if I see that one. I don't know if I see that one.
Yeah, he didn't have the option routes, and that's where I was just like, I have to believe that this dude can do that, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see the Jack Besh there. You on an island with that one.
I'm okay, bro. I'm okay. Oh man! So at the end of the day, but I think we're probably in general agreement with going with Eric McAllister on this one. Just again, to replacing that different body type for the Tim Patrick role with another guy with that same physique. I'm not going to be against at this point in the draft.
I will reiterate this: 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 2, 3. Come on, site, stop jumping up. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks. All different positions. You gotta love it, folks.
Sounding like Trevor Lawrence against the Arizona Cardinals to me. Everybody getting passes. I mean, we getting all the positions.
Anyways, this guy. With that in mind, the highest available on the board at this time is tight end Nate Bokerker.
I don't know that one.
I just said his name completely wrong. That's all I know. And then next behind him is edge rusher out of Duke. Oh, another Duke guy for you there, Travis. Wesley Williams, and then Colin Wright at corner out of safety. Cam Robinson the edge out of SMU, rounding out your top available on the board at this point. Another top.
I don't know if this is the time to say this, but I'm still gonna say it. Like I don't know if we want to go with a developmental quarterback option. I just wrote the article on Big Cat Country earlier today, talking about the fact that the Jaguars have not drafted a backup quarterback or drafted a quarterback. I'm sorry, since the drafting of Trevor Lawrence, period, and they hadn't drafted one.
We picked 10 positions.
Yeah, since 2019. I wasn't looking for it. I want to be honest, but there are a few guys that I'm just like, all right, cool. As far as like what go back to the quarterback list. So we can talk about it. There's a few guys, like 3 of these guys are at the combine practicing now. Like you got Haynes King, you got Joe Fango, you got what is it? Is it Barron? I can't even say his name right.
Barron
There you go, from Texas Tech. He's the short area king. Like he's the guy who's just system. He's not going to give you much down, like 10 yards plus down the field. And that's the problem there. But then you got Haynes King. He's like a dual threat quarterback option. Like that's a fine option, but it's not necessarily for this offense unless you think you can turn him into something like a Baker Mayfield. I don't see that necessarily right now. And Cole, goodness gracious, what is his name? Peyton, North Dakota State. I'm assuming he's already gone. Is my guess.
He's gone already.
He was the other one. He was the one that everybody loved. So Baron Morton, he wins in the short area quickness as far as that's concerned. But yeah, overall, I thought the guy out of Connecticut was the safest pick, like Fango, because. Am I saying it wrong? I never heard it said. I just don't see it spelled. So my apologies. Again, I don't watch tape. I don't listen. I don't watch the games. If that makes any sense. No, that's what they labeled him. Like he's the safe and steady pick out of the day 3 options. Like they thought he might go as early as the early 5th rounds, but he can go as late as the undrafted range. So it just depends on whether or not you thought he was going to be a product of the shotgun heavy system, because he didn't do a lot under center. Or you thought that he was actually going to be able to kind of move over like a lot like Trevor Lawrence actually coming in, just saying he didn't spend a lot of time on the center as far as figuring that piece out with his footwork. But with the great offseason program, he may even be able to be like drafted. And I thought that overall he's an older guy, and that how they love drafting older guys. We had the same conversation last year with RJ Harvey. That's the Rams motto. Like if you're 24, you have a better chance of being drafted than if you're 22 for some reason. So with that being a 5th-year option guy, I thought that he might be a good, solid choice in the middle of the pack, is taking that reins from Nick Mullins, or potentially at least competing in the offseason.
Look, I hear you. I think that there's definitely something to drafting a little bit of a developmental guy. I saw, I guess, popping up some of the comments. Somebody brought up like Haynes King. He's an absolute athletic freak. I think there's different ways to go about this thing. It depends on what you're looking for, right? Like here, I understand why they go the veteran backup. Like you want a guy who can just come in and level the ship. And with a rookie, you really don't know how they're going to handle it, and you kind of got your franchise guy. Diego Pavia is a guy who, to me, screams great value Baker Mayfield. And he's a guy who could, like, if there's a guy who I'd bet on just to figure it out because he wants to, like, show the world that he can play, it's him. I mean, he has that personality of, oh, nobody believes in me. I'm going to do it just to tell you I did it. I have no idea if he can pull it off or not. But he's definitely got
that's Gardner Minshew. That's Gardner Minshew incarcerated. All right.
If
good.
The team comes off the tracks, he's the guy that walks in, we're down 30, and says, all right, boys, here comes the comeback. And some kind of way he's going to pull it off. And like at some point, I'm betting on, I think about betting on that. The other guy, like you didn't mention Dalen Daniels, medicals. Talent galore. Medicals, can he pass? If you're good, like he's in that same kind of bucket as Haynes King for me, great athlete who can sling it, but he has a little bit of the medical question marks. And then you didn't mention Drew Aller, who's a guy with all the arm talent in the world, another one out of that Penn State program who just never quite was where we wanted him to be, right?
Yeah, he confuses me. Jesus, like I never got a good grasp on him, and even when folks were talking about him, being a top guy, I was just like, but why? I didn't see it, and then he never gave the consistency because they obviously fell off the tracks this past season. So now I'm just like, I don't know what he is, and that's my problem.
I don't know if anybody knows what he is. Like I really don't. I mean, he has that arm talent that could keep him in the league for 7 or 8 years as a backup quarterback. Or if he's not the classroom guy and that's part of what didn't surface for him, then he's out of the league really quickly. I mean, it could easily go either direction when we start talking about a guy like him because he does have arm and he was a highly rated recruit for a good reason. It just never quite came together for one reason or another. I don't hate the idea of drafting a backup quarterback. I don't think that's what they'll do. I think they're going to lean more of the veteran backup quarterback route, whether that's keeping a Nick Mullins around, whether that's going to get another guy and maybe an undrafted free agent quarterback comes in just to keep a young guy in. But I don't hate the idea of it at all.
I got you. Yeah, the only one they drafted since Gladstone took over was Stetson Bennett. And that was a 4th round guy. So like we know it's not going to be an every year conversation. It's just a conversation that's obviously overdue in Jacksonville, which is why I wrote the article on Big Cat Country. But nevertheless, yeah, go read the article, y'all. But also it's in reference to this mock draft. Yeah. So what else do we have out there? Are we looking at the safety room? Are we looking at the cornerback? Like, what do we have left?
There's a couple of guys that have jumped out to me while Kyle was kind of clicking through it. I think if we go to, can you go to safety and cornerback?
All right, safety and cornerback.
All right, so safety, Cole Wisniewski is a glue kind of guy that jumps out to me real quick when I'm looking at it. Have you watched Bishop Fitzgerald?
I was just about to ask you about him. I watched his highlight reel. I have not watched the game at all.
Any player, little undersized, not crazy twitched up, but he had a whole lot of ball production from that safety spot by playing with his instincts. So he's a guy that, like, I like both. I like some players on this USC defense. Like, I haven't seen him pop up yet, but I want a second linebacker in this draft. Eric Gentry from LSU or from USC. He's like 6'6" or 6'7". Dude, they got to get him in the weight room to like be a linebacker. But I think he can put on just enough weight to be functional. But before that, think about what like him on field goal and punt block, that length, dangerous because he moves well. He blocks some punts for USC. It's the same reason why Calais Campbell has a handful of block kicks. Just tall guys like that on the football field tend to find a way to get their hands up. So I think day one, he's a special teams guy for you and eventually develops. But I wouldn't hate Bishop Fitzgerald there. I think he's a heady kind of guy. He's just not your like thumper in the run game.
Right. No, I got you. I wouldn't be against it necessarily. Just again, and where we are, it's not like there's not going to be a lot of guys who are just like, hey, I love them.
Hey, Caleb Proctor's still on board, and that's my small school defensive tackle swing. Here he is.
He's your BJ Green. Well, not BJ Green, but you know, like in that same vein of
small school defensive tackle, like swing for Caleb Proctor. I mean, another guy that would fill that like slicing 3-technique role is Skylar Gill-Howard.
I like it. I like a penetrating 3-tech.
Yeah, that's him. I mean, Skylar Gill-Howard's probably like 290. Proctor's a little bit bigger. My question with Gill-Howard is how much of a beneficiary was he of playing next to Bailey and Hunter? Like that Texas Tech D-line was stacked. How much of a beneficiary was he of knowing he got the one-on-one because everybody else was worried about the two guys around him? Like he, in his own right, he's good, but being an undersized guy, he's got a major and he's going to have to be a real slice and wreak havoc guy. He's a good athlete, but that's why he's still on the board at this point.
Okay. This is hard, bro, because I don't have a strong take. I truly don't, and we're getting to the point in the draft. I'm just like, all right, cool, you got it.
Give me my guy. Double dip at DT, baby.
For me, it's all about it's about special teams, and it's like, all right, yeah. I mean, you're fine, and I think that's fine too, and I think he's cool. Like, and other than my guys that I just know I love, like I already talked to you about, like Eli. Like I'm good there. I I don't even know who else is left at this
There's
point.
plenty of people in the comments that have said the Jags should walk away with at least 2 defensive tackles. Jamal St. Cyr is about ready to grant their wish, is what I'm hearing.
Run it
I
up.
love it.
Caleb Proctor, baby.
Small schools prospect. I'm here for it. I haven't watched it down the tape. I got some catching up to do. My bad.
Check him out. Look, he's a no. Who's watching Southeastern Louisiana?
Jamal knows, man. Like we watch tape. Like Jamal and we watch tape. We both enjoy this very much. He's years more in this than I am. I'm in year 3, I believe, of watching NFL draft and like actually like watching tape with guys like often. And it's nearly every night, 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, watching doggone tape. I watched tape of who was it? Dang it. I watched tape of somebody just the other day and found out after the fact the next morning that they were going back to school.
Oh, I was talking about the BYU running back. Yeah. LJ. You talking about LJ.
LeBron James. Yes. I was so pissed. So trust me when I tell you, bro. Like, no, I love doing this because I love watching film on guys and everything else. But also I know Jamal does too. That's why we always talk about these guys, which is how I know how he feels about certain prospects heading into this conversation. So just so you guys know, this is not just us throwing names against the wall. We literally watch tape of a lot of these guys doing draft season. This is a real thing.
Yeah, start going through, just trying to figure out lists. I mean, it's impossible to watch every single guy. That's why
you can't.
And like Aaron Graves, I've heard good things, but I'm not going to tell you I've turned him on. I just know he was doing some stuff during the All-Star week. Like most of these, like I start paying attention to the All-Star week and trying to find guys from there. If you got invited to an All-Star game, you probably turned a head or two. There's your hide and right guy, you know, and then there's a handful of other guys, and you just kind of work your way through slowly one by one. And somebody might say something like, "Hey, go turn on Caleb Proctor," and next thing you know, you're watching Caleb Proctor, and you're like, "Oh, huh.
Exactly. It's all word of mouth. Somebody else tells you someone else jumped off the screen. You're gonna be like, all right, let me see. All right, I see what you mean. All right. But I think this might be a good time to go back to the well on that second tight end. I mean, we already talked about the fact that we didn't love one of them, and the other one was a healthy scratch most of the time.
Still on the board. He's going to go back to tight end. Okay.
I mean, I actually believe that they're going to draft a second quarterback. Well, the odds tell me just not to. I'm a math guy. Like even in Gladstone's time in the Rams, they only drafted one in one of the 4 years.
Odds aside, listen, all I heard was Jamal St. Cyr pounding the table for Stanford tight ends, and Sam Roche still currently also.
What I heard. That's what I heard. The fact that he's still there, that's exactly why I said let's go back to that tight end room.
That's crazy. Yeah, I got two tight ends that jump off the board immediately as I look at that list. Sam Roush, who I don't think makes it this far in the draft. I mean, he's a big guy. He's like 260. Just big, not a whole lot. The question mark is what he's going to give you in the passing game, but he is an extension of that offensive line. Right. You want a little bit of a bigger Eli Heidenreich, Riley Nowinski from Indiana. He's not quite as versatile, but I mean, he's going to be your H-back. He's a fullback. You can line him up. I mean, he just plays football, man. Like when I watch him, he's undersized, but he does a little bit of everything.
So now this is a problem because you just gave me 2 different tight ends, and I like what you said about both of these tight ends, right? Yeah. I want to be clear in saying this, but you just said the magic word that just sold me on one of the guys versus the other one, and you just said the words fullback. And that's where I'm like, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Say that again. Okay, cool. Because we got Brenton Strange on the roster who's out here just like destroying dudes on highlight reels to the point where he makes it on the intro at one point or another. And now you give me a fullback on the roster at that H-back role. I'm already gonna be on board. Like I wanted the Jaguars to have a legitimate fullback, like fullback, just in that spot. So if you can't have that, you can give me an H-back in that dual role. I'm happy with that already. So yeah, let's go with Riley. What? I'm sorry, y'all. I ain't slow. It's just one of them names. Wiskowski.
Yeah, it's Riley.
Yeah, Mike Wiskowski. Yes, let's go with that. Riley.
Listen, this isn't Billy Crystal with one eye, bro.
Tight end, Indiana.
There you go.
There you go, Riley. Yeah, but Sam Roush, that's a big boy right there. That is a big boy.
Someone's going to love him as an undrafted free agent in this draft class, apparently, and that's the way this draft went.
Yeah, gentlemen, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The top-notch work here by Jamal Saint Cyr and Travis Holmes with some light sprinklings of spice here and there for me to talk smack and stir the pot. Just to run it down, the first pick overall at 56 was Chris Johnson, the corner out of San Diego State. Deontay Lawson, linebacker out of Alabama at 81. Austin Barber at 88, offensive tackle out of Florida. Boy, there's a lot of these picks. Dominic Orange, defensive tackle out of Iowa State. Nicholas Singleton at running back out of Penn State. Vincent Anthony, edge out of Duke. John Mike, that's how many picks we have. I have to expand it. John Michael Gillenborg from Wyoming at tight end at 164. Eric McAllister, the pick that stared Jamal St. Cyr down, 195 wide receiver out of TCU. Caleb Proctor, also another Jamal St. Cyr guy. Caleb Proctor is the defensive tackle out of Southeastern Louisiana. I listen, who hasn't seen it, as Jamal points out? And of course, Riley Nowakowski, tight end out of Indiana. And keep in mind, folks, only 2 position groups were picked more than once: tight end and defensive tackle. A mind-blowing concept here. But you know what? The point was made earlier on this show. Tight end is a prominent role in this offense, and you need the right kind of guy to do it. This is an argument that I got to stare down a former NFL player in the face and tell him he was wrong about his own position. Shouts to Ben Troop, No Winnings in the Fall podcast. And I always love bringing that up. I just love that name. But yeah, Jamal, this journey, something special. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your glee and your good times, playing the role of the very handsome James Gladstone, Jimmy Stones, if you were. But you weren't just a stoner to us. Tell the people where you can be found, my friend.
You can track me down anywhere on social media. Just look for J Saint Cyr TV, JSTCYR TV. Try and be just about everywhere. We're always cranking out some good Jag stuff.
All right. And of course, my personal champion riding along, helping me out because I'm a terrible scout. Travis D. Holmes, tell him where you can be found.
Hey man, you already know, man. You can find me here. I mean, let's start there. If you're in this chat, then obviously click that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Rate and review us on the audio side. And if you're not looking for our audio information or our video, documentation that we kind of have out there, then check me out on Big Cat Country. Come on, man. Read the articles. How about this? Even if you don't read the articles, just click the link. Just click the link. We're gonna make this a thing. We're gonna make this a thing. I don't care if I put some out there. Y'all click the link. Do that. That's the bare minimum. We are good. So yeah, bigcatcountry.com. Yeah, the Duval Dive podcast. Please like and subscribe and keep this thing growing. It's only monetized because you guys keep talking to us, and we appreciate you guys. And we'll promise you we will always keep talking back. The TikTok's growing. The X is growing. All this is growing because you guys stay engaged. So stay engaged throughout this offseason. Keep an eye on those guys throughout the combine that we've kind of mentioned throughout this podcast. We'll hopefully do this again. Mock draft 2.0, 3.0, whatever it may be.
We will pin down Jamal St. Cyr. We will find some way to corner him in a room. Who are your picks, Jamal?
Yes. Who are you watching now? And let them know where you can be found, man.
What's in the box? What are your picks, Jamal? It'll be that. It'll be great. I like it. And of course, the point I want to take home here, Storm the Desert mentions it. We mentioned earlier. I want to reiterate, it wouldn't surprise any of us if they use some special capital to trade up. Plus, they'll have either a 27th, 3rd, or 4th from comp for Devin Lloyd. Yeah, no, that's perfectly accurate. So great times all the way around, gentlemen. Yeah. These marathon shows where I love going into it. Travis is like, I don't know, in those late rounds, I'm just going to agree with Jamal and move on. No, did not happen here. Full length analysis, just like I know and love, you guys know and love and got to enjoy. And yeah, so with that in mind, for the incomparable Jamal Saint Cyr, for my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes, for you Duval divers out there, thank you, gentlemen, so much. Ladies and gentlemen, so much for jumping in. Until next time, everyone, this is Kyle Nash, Stu in the Game. Find me on Twitter, X, Instagram Threads, or Blue Sky at the SOTG. Check out my coverage of UCF football and basketball, as well as the Orlando Magic. Most importantly, your Jacksonville Jaguars to all the Duval. Until next time, everyone, class dismissed.